Well, guys, we're very excited. Our season opener against a very good Miami team. AT&T Stadium, Dallas, Texas, the very fertile recruiting area for the LSU Tigers. We have a lot of guys on our team from Texas. They're excited to go there. We have a lot of our top recruits that are going to be at this football game from Dallas, from Houston, from Shreveport, from Louisiana. What a great venue, national TV for the LSU Tigers. I know our fans are going to be excited. Take over that stadium and turn it into Death Valley. It'll be a tremendous night for the LSU Tigers against a very, very good Miami football team. I'll give you a little scouting report on Miami. Spread on offense, 8 returning starters, average about 30 points per game. The returning quarterback, Malik Rozier, dual threat quarterback, runs the read option. Very good thrower, accounted for 31 touchdowns last year. Travis Homer is a fast, physical back. Ran for almost 1,000 yards. They use him well. He catches the ball out of the backfield. He blocks. He's all around back. He's physical. We're going to have to tackle well against him. They create space for him and let him make plays in space. Jeff Thomas is a dynamic home run threat at wide receiver. 17 yards per catch. He ran a 4.3, 840, 10,600 meters. Typical fast Miami team. They got tall receivers, and they use them very well in the spread offense. Ahmad Richards, another tall receiver, very talented with good size, make plays. So those guys are going to be a challenge, but I know we're going to be up for the challenge. Miami defense, 4-3 Miami defense, very aggressive. 7 returning starters, very fast, go to the football, play man coverage, play zone coverage, press. They're all over the place. They blitz. They cause turnovers. They're very well coached by Manny Diaz. This is going to be a challenge for offensive line and protection. We know that they're going to come after us. They're going to be very aggressive. We're going to be ready for it. Joe Jackson, the defensive end, typical Miami defensive end, 6'5", first-round pick, projected first-round pick, had 10 sacks in 2017, 11 tackles for loss. This guy is very aggressive. We need to know where he's at. Shaquille Quarterman, inside linebacker, 83 tackles. Michael Jackson, cornerback, 4 interceptions, 5 breakups. Jaquan Johnson, probably one of the best defensive player, projected first-round pick, 96 tackles, 4 interceptions, 4 pass breaks up at safety. This is a very, very talented group. On special teams, they have a very good punt return team, 5th in the NCAA, averaging almost 16 yards per return. Their kickoff is Jeff Thomas, 22-yard average, long as a 38. Kickoff return, Their punter is Zach Fiegels. I was there when his daddy played, Jeff. He's just like his daddy. He's a very, very good punter. I'm excited to shake his hand and say hello to him because Jeff was a good friend of mine. Field goal, Bubba Baxter, fresh out of high school, was a freshman with a strong leg. All right, now about the Tigers. We have several positions. I talked to both quarterbacks this morning. It was a very, very tight race. And let me say this to you, both quarterbacks are ready to go in the game. I will not announce the starting quarterback to the media today because I want to tell the team first. It's very fair for the football team, but those guys have been told. They've been told their grades. It was a very good meeting. Myself, Steve Ensminger, Miles Brennan, and Joe Ender. And we had a very good conversation, and we were solid with our decision. We named the starting quarterback. He's going to take most of the reps this week. But let me say this to you. If he does not perform well, we have no problem putting in a second-team quarterback. Also, at right tackle, this week we have to decide between Adrian McGee and Badar Traore. Those guys are fighting for the right tackle spot. At running back, it will be either Nick Brossette or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Whatever one starts, the other one's going to get a lot of time. And at cornerback, it will be Kelvin Joseph, Christian Fulton, or Kerry Vincent. Those 3 guys are going to fight for the left cornerback position. Let me say this to you. Kelvin Joseph is a freshman, has had an outstanding camp. He's going to be an outstanding player for the LSU Tigers, who are excited to have him. On special teams, our place kicker will be Cole Tracy. Doing our kickoffs will be Avery Atkins. Our punter will be Zach Van Rosenberg, along with Josh Grodin. In special situations, kickoff returner will be Clyde. Punt returner will be Jonathan Giles. and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Any questions?
At what point did you guys make, excuse me, wait till microphone, please.
Hey, Coach. Steve Ensminger, just take me back to when he told you he did not want to do this in 2016 to now he wants to do it, and what kind of offense do you think he has been able to build leading into a game where you're going to be playing a very good defense?
Well, exactly the offense that I've envisioned for LSU, a spread offense, creating space, putting the ball in our playmakers' hands and let them play. He's done exactly what he and I talked about. Our players respect Steve. Our quarterbacks love him. Tight ends love him. He's a tough coach. He's an LSU Tiger. I think he's going to do a tremendous job for us.
Coach, over here. Wondering if you could reflect briefly, this question on Miami, defensive tackle Gerald Willis. I believe you had a history trying to recruit him and so forth. What you remember about that and how far he's come with his personal issues and transferring.
Yeah, well, I was not here, so I was in California when he was being recruited. So I know he's a good player. I know he's going to be fired up coming back to Louisiana. I understand that.
Ed, to your right. Good afternoon. Two questions. Is Steve going to be in the press box or the field? Have you made that decision? And two, the new headset rule, how might that affect just your game day preparations, if at all?
Yeah, well, Steve's going to be in the press box, and he's going to be calling the plays along with Jerry. Jerry will be in the press box. We're going to distribute the headsets among the full-time coaches, and there will be several student assistants on the sideline with headsets. And obviously the analysts cannot be in the box. They'll be on the sideline. They can't do any charting. Only graduate assistants can be up in the box.
Ed, you mentioned the quarterback decision. What went into making the decision? Was it strictly the grades? And when did you actually make it?
We made it this morning. After the final grades were in, we measured the reps. One quarterback had 428 reps, and the other one had 427. I thought Steve did a great job of giving them equal reps. Graded the things that we wanted to see our quarterback do on a daily basis, and every situation was given a grade. It's marked down on a sheet of paper, percentages. Our players saw it, they knew it, and they received the grades every day, so it was obvious to them. And I thought Steve did a tremendous job of doing this the whole camp.
You referenced that Miami pass rush in your opening statement. How much have you had to prepare for that in the offense, and how much does that go into the decision-making about the quarterback and what kind of offense you want to run this weekend?
Well, let me say this to you. We're going to face a great pass rush every week, and we need to get used to it. But, we have a pretty good pass rush ourselves, so our guys have seen a good pass rush. We announced the quarterback, and we graded the quarterback on the things that we feel that he can do within our offense. And it had nothing to do with Miami or nothing to do because we're going to play great defensive lines coming up.
Ed, you mentioned the guys competing for that left cornerback spot. Are any of them also working at nickel, and just kind of how do you see those two positions in terms of?
Yes, I see Kerry Vincent and Terrence Alexander are going to work at the nickel spot. They're going to fight for that spot this week, and we'll see who the starter is.
Coach, over here, you mentioned the decision was made this morning, and last week you said it could have been on Sunday. So how close of a decision was it, and how did the conversation roll from yesterday into this morning?
It was a very close decision. In fact, it seesawed back and forth all last week. The grades were very close. Either quarterback could have won out. Steve and I talked a little bit about it last night. I said, let's sleep on it. Let's make sure that this is what we want to do. But we went with the grades. And the winner came out on a sheet of paper of the grades, and that was the deciding factor.
Coach, over here to your right. Two questions, please. Do you think you're better than people think you are?
Yes.
Okay. And why? And number two, is the opening game a big coach's game as far as making adjustments to what they do? Is there more pressure on coaches and openers, especially in openers against a top 10 ranked team?
You know, the preparation going into camp, as far as your team being able to be in great shape, your team be able to tackle, have great line of scrimmage discipline, catch the football, fundamentals that ought to be shown in the first game. I think that's a measure of what we have done in camp. We have to have an open mind on offense and defense to be able to make adjustments. Obvious it's the first game. They have new players. We have new players. And I think that the adjustments are done on the sideline. I think that's a big strength for us with Dave Aranda and Steve Ensminger. I feel totally confident that they'll be able to make those adjustments. So, yes, it is a coaching game, but I think it's a reflection of what you've done in camp.
How about being better?
Well, you know, the outside influences don't affect our room. So whatever, if they pick us first or pick us last, we still got to play. So we tell our guys, block out the noise. But obviously you hear it, and you hear the predictions, and you hear that. I do believe we have a very good football team. We're going to take it one game at a time, and let's see what happens.
Ed, I guess what are you seeing in between Bedara and Adrian in that right tackle competition? I guess what kind of things do they each bring to the table?
Yeah, Bedara is a big physical tackle, very tough. Adrian has a little bit more experience in our system. He's a little bit more fluid in his movements. I would say Bedara is a little bit more consistent right now. Adrian needs to be more consistent, and we're going to put him through the test this week. This is going to be a game-type decision.
Coach, what have you seen from Joe Burrow since he came to the campus in terms of getting comfortable, getting to know his teammates, running the offense, all those things?
Yeah, he came in here very low-key, competed at every event he could. I remember the first day we ran our conditioning test, and he was first on a bunch of sprints, didn't say a word. In the film room, on his own, studying, in the weight room, working hard. When he had a chance to, he took command of the offense, showed leadership. He made some mistakes. He wasn't perfect. Neither was the other quarterback. But that next day he would bounce back. He showed true leadership and ability to command the offense.
Ed, any update on Thaddeus Moss or Rashard Lawrence? They both kind of missing
Yeah,
time.
I think both of them are going to play this week. I'm expecting both of them to play.
You've talked a little bit about this in the past, but just if you would talk again about your influences from your time in Miami. You were under Jimmy Johnson and then Dennis Erickson. Those were kind of like the high watermark of Miami's great teams. So what did you learn? What do you take from both those guys?
Well, I felt like that's where I learned how to coach. I started off at Arkansas under Ken Hatfield, and they got me ready for coaching. And I learned a lot of stuff how to study film, the professionalism of being a football coach. Then I went down to Miami, and my first day on the practice field, coaching defense with Jimmy Johnson, Dave Wanstead, Butch Davis, Tommy Tuberville, Dave Campbell. I understood the tempo of practice and how to prepare for practice and what a real practice looked like. And from then on, I wanted to become that type of coach. I thought Jimmy Johnson was an excellent motivator. He was an excellent leader. He was a tough coach, a great recruiter. Learned how to recruit from him, put safeties to linebackers, linebackers to defensive end to defensive tackles, defensive linemen to offensive linemen, recruiting a great, smart quarterback and recruiting speed. So he was kind of like my mentor. Then Dennis Erickson came along and gave me a chance. Obviously, we won 2 national championships. We coached some great guys. I mean, Cortez Kennedy, Russell Maryland, Warren Sapp. What an opportunity to coach some great men. So I learned a lot of football on there.
Coach, here on the left, is Christian a go? He can play this weekend?
Yes.
And given he's practiced and all that but hasn't played, what are realistic expectations for him in terms of rust or anything you might be facing?
Yeah. We're going to put him in some situations. Now, he's practiced on the second team, and he's scrimmaged, so he has a lot of scrimmage time just like everybody else. We feel that he's ready to play. and perhaps start. We're going to make that decision towards the end of the week after we put him full speed 7-on-7 in team and see what he does.
Coach, back here. Touching on the analysts, what's the biggest difference in preparation this year with Miami compared to last year's season opener?
That's a very good question. We've gone over about 3 different game plans on Miami because of the knowledge and the expertise of our analysts. We had a scouting report just like you do in the NFL yesterday, and the offensive scouting report lasted an hour and a half with me. And it was very detailed, went over every situation. We felt after that scouting report, we knew everything that we possibly could about Miami, and that's a tribute to our analysts. Our analysts have done a very good job. We have some young analysts that are very bright. We have some older analysts who have a lot of experience that give us a lot of information. We are much stronger this year.
Ed, over here to your right. You talked a lot about the holes of this team. Where do you walk in week one feeling, all right, we're very set at this position, and is there a position group within that where you're kind of surprised that you feel really confident about that group?
Well, the good thing about playing a good opponent, that you're going to find out where your weaknesses are soon. And obviously, we're very positive about every position. We think that we're strong in a lot of areas, but we have some new offensive linemen that are going to be playing in new positions against a very fast football team, a blitzing football team, so those guys have to gel really fast. We have a new quarterback that's going to be in a live situation the first time. We have to see how he handles everything. We think he's going to do fine. We have an unproven running back. We have unproven receivers. So we're going to find out about those guys. Then you go on the other side on defense, we're pretty salty. We think that we're going to be very strong. But, you know, we have a new linebacker. We have a new corner. We may have a new safety. Those guys in the game situations have to perform. And then we have a new kicker. We have a new kickoff guy. So they've done very good in camp. But obviously, it's not in front of 80,000 people on national TV. So we're going to find out about them soon.
Coach, how big is this game in terms of, you know, showcasing your program to the entire country? Everyone's going to be watching and recruiting, and your fans everywhere.
It's huge. It's huge. We're looking forward to this game. And I know our team's going to be excited to play. And it's huge for us in recruiting. It's huge for us in our season. It's huge for us in momentum to start the season off on the right foot.
Coach, right here on your left. Of the positions that you mentioned that were up for grab, running back is one that you're most likely to play multiple players.
Yeah.
So starters doesn't necessarily matter. Do you expect to play multiple running backs? And could you comment on, I guess, maybe the 3 that you like the most?
You know, obviously Clyde and Nick are going to play. Leonard Fournette could play. Chris Curry could play. Those would be the third back, out of Chris or Leonard. It all depends how the week goes by. Both of those guys are ready to play.
Do you like a hot hand? How do you like to approach
It
it?
all depends what we're running. You know, there's going to be some time for us to get physical in this football game, and Nick is the guy to get physical with. There's some times for us to get on the perimeter. There's some times for us to make some plays in space, and I do believe that Clyde can get that done.
Hey, Ed, over here. With you mentioned Malik Rozier and how he's a dual threat running guy. You guys have talked so much about the aggression on defense this year. What difficulties does Miami have on that, and how do you approach that, knowing what he can do?
You know, anytime you run the option, you have to be option sound. It's assignment football. One guy has the dive, one guy has the quarterback, and if you miss a gap, it's a big play down the field, and that's obvious on the film with their explosive plays. Miami is a very explosive offense. If you overload the box, you got one-on-one with their wide receivers. They're very good football players. So you got to be able to tackle in space. A lot of bubbles, a lot of nows, a lot of perimeter plays. They're very good at cut blocking. We have to do a good job of playing the cut blocks and tackling in space. They're very good at the quarterback draw. They have an empty package where he runs the quarterback draw, especially in the red zone. He's fantastic at it. We watched it this morning. So he poses a lot of problems throwing the football, making smart decisions, seeing what the defense can give you, and he takes it.
Coach, right here. Could you talk about, for Christian Fulton, what it's like heading into, after knowing all this time has passed and going into his first game, and for it to be on this stage?
Yeah.
How are his emotions right now, and how is the team supporting him?
Well, first of all, the team was very fired up, obviously. And they watched him go through all this, but he never blinked. And now, knowing Christian, his demeanor hasn't changed. He comes to work the same way. He's not boastful, sticking out his chest or nothing like that. He goes to work with a workmanlike attitude. I've got to praise his mother and father for the way they raised him. He's a tremendous young man. He's been very well coached from Rummel High School. He knows how to face adversity. I think that it's going to be a big deal for him, but he's not going to show it. And obviously, that's going to go away after the first play. You got to be able to perform. But it's going to be a good story. It's a good story about a young man that competed, that never stopped, about administration competing for him. One team, one heartbeat, about his mom and daddy never stopping, and here he gets his chance. It's a tremendous story.
Coach, is there a certain message that you're telling to your guys this season that you think will really help them be successful this season, buy into the program, and just have the best season they can have?
Yeah. Execution, one team, one heartbeat, play for your brother. We put 11 men on the field and we fight like tigers. We have a lot of new guys. We have some old guys. They gelling together. This is our football team. They're excited. I think they're hungry. I think they have a little chip on their shoulder. And they'll be excited to play the Miami Hurricanes. I promise you that.
Coach, up here in the back, obviously with Miami having the turnover chain and then LSU, DBU, do you see this game kind of shaking out to be more of a defensive battle, or do you see it being more balanced?
You think it's a defensive battle going into the game, with their defense and our defense, but you don't know. You never can tell. The main factor for us is to be able to take care of that football and offense. We're going to have to cause some turnovers on defense, and then when we get a chance on special teams, take care of the ball and cause some turnovers. That's what they thrive off of. If we can take care of the football, that's going to be one step.
How big of a difference has been having Greg McMahon be a full-time coach to work with the guys, to pick the personnel? And do you feel that maybe guys wanted to be a part of special teams a little bit more this year than they have in the past?
Take a big load off of our staff. Our staff was coaching special teams last year, and everybody had a part. Greg was teaching them what to do, but he couldn't put his stamp on it, his enthusiasm. I sit in every one of his meetings. He shows Saints film. He shows NFL film. He's very enthusiastic, very detailed. Me and him went over all the personnel this morning. He has a game plan against Miami. He knows all their personnel, so it's made a world of difference.
Coach, as you re-engineer or reshape your offense, how important is it, while you want to throw the ball more, to not get away from one of the signature things that this program has done the last 20 years, and that's be physical at the point of attack?
We're going to be physical. It's in our DNA. That's why you come to LSU. And I tell our team that. That's why you come to LSU. That's why you coach at LSU. You have a physical mentality. So we're always going to be physical here. But we do want to be 50-50. We want to spread the ball around and throw it. But when we run the football, we want to be physical as we can be.
Ed, over here, you mentioned a lot of the aggression could leave some one-on-ones on the outside with corners. I mean, you mentioned Fulton's return and whether he might start there. Does Kelvin Joseph move back to safety, and how much does it focus on who gets those one-on-one matchups?
Yeah, Kelvin has done a tremendous job. He's proven to us that he can start for the LSU Tigers, and we haven't made a decision if he's going to start or not, or Christian, but we feel very good about him going in there. Obviously with a cornerback like Greedy Williams, you would think most teams are going to go to the other side. Maybe, maybe not. But our cornerbacks are ready for that. They're ready to answer the challenge. And if it is Kelvin Joseph, we feel very confident that he can match up one-on-one with those guys.
Coach, over here. Do y'all have your own turnover chain?
Nope.
Ed, going back, I'm going to keep hammering you about the quarterbacks. because of the unique position of quarterback, do you have a grade on intangibles? Did that go into the decision at all? Did you look at leadership and some of the other things that go into
No
playing
question.
quarterback?
Leadership, maturity, how to handle pressure, work ethic, individual study time. We have a saying, everything you do counts. All that went into it. All of it went into it. How do you handle pressure? How to handle adversity out on the field. They've faced a pretty good rush. All those things, how you make decisions when everything is not perfect. And all those went into the decision-making process. And I'm going to say this to you, either quarterback would be fine with me. Either quarterback, it was that close. I feel like either quarterback could have started. It was very close. It wasn't a lopsided. It wasn't at all. All right, thank you, man.